Power stations are popping up like mushrooms these days. And some mushrooms are good and tasty, but some are poison. If this power station were a mushroom, would it be good and tasty? Let's find out. Hi folks, Les here, and today we're going to look at the EBL small 330 watt power station. And at the end of the video, I have a very important question for our channel that I want to ask you guys that are regular viewers of the channel. So stick around to the end of the video and please give me your answer to that question. So when you get your EBL power station, open the box, you're going to get 3 cables or connectors. That one's for the wall outlet AC charging. This one is to charge, is a DC connection for charging in your car. And this is an MC4 connection for charging with solar panels. You also get a user's manual, which is a very useful user manual in this case. And of course, you get the power station itself. The general specs on this unit: 330 watts of power, 288 watt hours of capacity. I'll explain those numbers a little bit later. The unit itself weighs about 7 pounds. It's about 10 inches this way, 7 inches this way. When you close the handle, it's about 7 inches tall. So it's very small, very light, very portable, easy to move around, take with you in your car, wherever you need this thing. It's easy to get it there. And the pricing, as of filming this video, it's on sale on Amazon, perhaps other places as well, for half price. It's right at $150. That's an amazing price on something like this, folks. I do have a link for it in the description below. We'll get a small fee. Your price won't change. So when it comes to charging or recharging the battery, you got 3 options. The wall outlet for AC recharging. For your car, to recharge from your car. No matter which way you recharge it, it goes into the same spot. And for a true SHTF type of world, you're going to want to have solar panels, and they too would connect to the unit, same place. So the input that you can put into the unit is 60 watts. So all 3 are going to charge at about the same rate, which would be somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 to 7 hours to fully recharge it from being fully discharged. And while you're recharging it, you can use the USB outlets or the 12-volt outlets while you're recharging, but you cannot use the AC outlet while you're recharging. The outlets, you have one AC outlet. It's 110 volts. It works with a pure sine wave inverter, which means you can put your computer and sensitive type things in here. It operates at a frequency of 60 hertz, which is important for those of us in the United States. You also have a USB section. You have 3 USB-A ports, and they will put out up to 18 watts power. You have a USB type C port also that will put out up to 60 watts of power. Over here you have a DC outlet section. This is a 12 volt 10 amp that you would use just like you would use your car cigarette lighter. And this is 2 12 volt 5 amp outlets. You also have a 5 watt wireless charger if you have devices that can charge wirelessly. My phone, the wireless charger, and it's charging. So how do you operate this thing? Power button. And right now it's at 83% capacity. We will use all these ports in a few minutes, but for now, if you wanted to use the AC section, you turn it on. It gives you information about the AC section. Of course, right now we're not drawing anything from it because we don't have anything plugged up, but we will. If you want to use the USB, simple, turn it on. Or if you want to use the DC, you turn that section on. And you can use all 3 at the same time if you want to. It also has a very nice light. And I'll show you how it performs in the dark. And the good thing about this light is it's on the front, so you can actually use it and it's on and off. The light does have an emergency or SOS feature, but just typical use, you can turn the light on and you can turn it off. You don't have to have all the flashing stuff going on like you do with a lot of lights. But if you want it, first you turn it on, then you double click it quickly. Click it again, it's back to the regular light and off. All right, we're getting closer to using it to see what we can really do with it. First, let's see what the company says you can do with it. What it powers: laptop, around 5.9 recharges. A 32-inch TV, it will power it for around 4 hours. Your CPAP machine, about 16 hours. A GoPro camera, 41 recharges. A floodlight, it will power it for around 61 hours. A mini fridge, a 40-watt mini fridge, it will power it for around 6 hours. A drone. Yes, I'd like to have one of those, wouldn't you? Typical drone, it will recharge it 2.7 recharges. So your third recharge wouldn't be a full one. Smartphones, around 24 recharges. And a Switch, a game thing, I think, around 15 recharges. That's from the box. Now let's go see what we can hook up and use. I don't have all those things listed on the box, but I got some things that are not listed on the box. So let's try them out. So now let's see what we can get out of this little power station. I'm going to start out using the USB section, then the AC section, and then the DC section. And we'll see what all we can put on there and still keep going. We'll turn it on. We're now at 74% capacity. I'm going to turn the USB section on. I'm going to turn them all on so I don't forget to do that. I'm going to start out using the USB-C. And to do that, we're going to use my wife's phone. USB on. And the phone is charging and it's drawing 22 watts of power. So in the first USB-C, I'm going to hook an older Kindle. So the Kindle is charging. I'm going to add in this camping lantern radio combination thing just to show you what it is. And you can see we're now drawing 31 watts of power because this is now in the process of recharging. So we've got one more slot, and for that, connect this little USB fan, which is for like tent camping and so forth, but it's nice. Now it's not turned on yet, so here I'm going to put on low. I'll let you see what happens. Remember, USB is what we're working on now. So low setting doesn't draw much, medium, and high. So we have 4 items running on the USB. We're pulling 28 watts and it varies. Now we're going to use the AC. I'm going to put just your typical desk lamp. And the lamp is drawing the AC section 54 watts. So now with the USB, everything's still going, and the AC, we're at 50, 55 and 30, so about 80 to 85, and it's fluctuating. Let's move on to the DC. I don't have anything for those two, but I have a modified sine wave inverter that we kept in our vehicle that plugged into the cigarette lighter, so I'm going to put it in here. That's the unit I'm going to plug in. It is going to make a noise, you'll hear it. I'll be using that lamp plugged into that inverter. And that lamp is drawing 15 watts. So we have 6 items plugged in. We have 26 watts on the USB, 54 watts on the AC, 15 watts on the DC. It's about 85 to 90 watts that we're drawing out of the unit. Everything is going. I know this is the part that you've all been waiting for, using the AC outlet portion of the power station. So let's see what we can do with it. I have the AC section turned on. Right now it's drawing 0 watts. I'll show you some close-ups of this in a minute once we start hooking things up. I still have corded power equipment. Now I'm not going to tell you that that little unit will run everything that I have or that you have. But this is a decent drill. So I'm going to plug it in. I already know what's going to happen, but I want to show you guys. Will it or won't it? cooling fan did come on. I want to give you guys a close-up of what's going on because we're going to talk about the numbers also. The watt hours, the watts, and the peak or surge wattage. So here we go. So when the drill took off, you saw it, the wattage that was pulled out was somewhere a little over 300 watts, and then it leveled out to somewhere around 180 to 190 watts. So that 300 plus wattage, that's the surge or the peak power, and this unit is 500 watt peak power. If I'm mistaken, I'll correct that on the screen, meaning the peak power or surge power is more power instantly than what the item has to have to maintain its operation. It was maintaining at somewhere around 180 to 190 watts. So this is a 288 watt hour, which means at full charge, that unit, that power station would run that drill for over an hour, steady using it. That's a big help for people like me who have corded power equipment, so that I don't have to drag extension cords all over the place. For you to be certain that your corded power equipment would work with that, you need to do a little research, see what the surge power is and the running power of your tool is. That only puts out 330 watts, which covers that drill, but it certainly won't cover some of the larger equipment. So do your research before you buy that for corded power equipment. So this is a miniature space heater, personal space heater. I got it specifically to have for us and our preps, for cold winter preps, to use with that unit. It's a 200 watt unit. Let's plug it up and see what it does. Now the fan you hear is the fan of the unit. So our heater is running at a little over 200 watts, and it is putting out heat. Can you guys feel the heat? I can. Turn it off. Now let's see what the peak or surge is. So it's 305 for a surge power, and then it maintains somewhere in the neighborhood 175 watts. Okay, I don't want you guys thinking that you could get this little space heater and use that unit and stay warm all night long in a 0-degree power outage without heat in your home. That's not the purpose of that. It's not the purpose of this. But if you make the right preparations for wintertime safety, this power unit will certainly be able to help you stay warm if you use it the right way and know what it's for. Now, we'll talk about winter preparations in an upcoming video series. Let's look at another aspect of the EBL 330 Power Station, one that I think you're going to really like. This is an electric lunchbox. It is for heating food. I got it specifically because we got that unit. What that power station will let us do, amongst many other things that we've already looked at, is it will allow us to cook indoors safely during power outages. And this is one of the ways that we can do that. Now, this is for heating foods, liquid foods, soups, stews, stuff like that. It's not for frying, baking, and those things. So again, you got to know what your equipment's for to be able to use it properly. Two ways to use it. It's made for in your car. It wasn't made for that, but it works great with that. AC, so I have it plugged in. The lunchbox is a 60 watt lunchbox. So it appears that that is the surge in slow motion. So after about a minute or so, it has leveled out at roughly the 60 watts that it's rated for. So from a prepper standpoint, the EBL 330 watt power station is a great item to have for your preparedness. It will let us use power equipment. It will allow us to stay warm if we have other things in place. It will help us to cook safely indoors during power outages, canned food primarily. It will recharge nearly anything that you have to recharge USB wise. It's small, easily portable. You can keep it in your car for emergencies. We're going to do that. easy to recharge even in your car. All in all, I got to say this is an excellent power station, and being on sale for half price, what else is there to say about it? So I want to say thank you to the EBL folks for sending that to us, to let us look at it, review it, and to share what we found with you guys. If this power station were a mushroom, would it be good and tasty? I think it's a great unit. And now, for that question that I told you guys that I had for you at the end of the video. Well, we're at the end of the video, and the question is, we are considering in the coming year finding or building a 4-sided or 3-sided bug out structure, bug out location structure, a mock structure, to equip as if it were post SHTF, live in it overnight, weekends, perhaps a week at a time, multiple times, equip it with off-grid or grid-down equipment, primitive equipment, and power it somewhat with something like this, maybe even this one, along with solar panels, because as is, it is a great emergency power station, but for the long term and SHTF, you got to have the solar panels to recharge it. So I'd really like to know from you guys, would you be interested in a monthly series about a bug out location with training, examples, filming, videos for our channel? Would you guys be interested in seeing that? Please let us know, because it's very important to us, because your answer to that question, yes or no, whatever you think, will help us in making our plans for our channel for the coming year.